92.
94. You were there early.
Oh, man.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being here. In the following panel, we'll discuss and talk about international markets for nonlinear platforms. In brief, the main conclusion is that the international market for nonlinear linear platforms are changing rapidly, and I think this is true. In brief, the main conclusion is that there are new opportunities for old and new players, okay? But which are those new opportunities? How can we take advantage of that? How can we make money? This is, in fact, a complex universe that raises many questions about broadcasting rights, new consumption habits, and technological changes, relationship with operators, and revenue streams. In sum, it's a broad list of issues we won't have time to address today. Yet we have the expertise of these three executives who speak here today. Henry Martinez is the President and Managing Director for Discovery Networks Latin America and US Hispanic, and he's responsible for commercial and operational units, including sales, production operations, research, marketing, communication, and information technology across the region. Antonio Barreto is the CEO of DLA since December 2004, when the company was acquired by Clarkson Interactive Group. Barreto has collaborated as a top executive with some of the region's most prominent media, telecommunications, and entertainment groups, among them DirecTV, Disney, Telefonica, HBO, Globo, Sky, and Abril. And DLA has recently launched a new service, Neon, an impressive OTT VOD platform in Latin America, which Antonio will surely mention during his speech. And Victor Kong is the Chief Digital Officer for Cisneros Group of Companies, and he's responsible for establishing digital business strategies of Cisneros companies and launching new ventures in the digital world. He has recently launched RedMass, one of the leading digital advertising networks in the US Hispanic, and he has also created the largest mobile ad network in the region. The project was created via merger with AdsMobile and the US Hispanic-based mobile ad network, which was founded by Cisneros in late 2011. So I'd like to begin this lecture by addressing Antonio. How can new or old players improve an original programming strategy, thinking about this new world of nonlinear platforms?
Good afternoon, everybody. Actually, I'm the older player here, right? Right?
Amongst good company.
Amongst good company, yes. But this is a fast-changing world. I think our perspective is we have a good perspective looking at Latin America from the US markets and looking at what's happening around the world and having focused our business in Latin America, we believe we can understand how to visualize the adaptation or of what's happening around the world and the timing and the way things will be brought into Latin America. We're a region with very challenging conditions. So we say that for the outsiders, Latin America is one market. For us, it's 28 different markets. And most of them too small to justify specific solutions. So our challenge is really to bring new businesses into Latin America in a way that they become relevant to the region. That was our position, DLA's position from the beginning. I think one of the things that's relevant for us to say is that we focus on nonlinear content since the beginning of DLA. We had a vision of how to bring these solutions into the region. And about a year ago, DLA was acquired by América Móvil, which is one of the largest, single largest network operators in the region, with assets in television, broadband, and mobile. And we were able to bring that vision into a plan, and we're bringing that plan into execution. So we just We launched an over-the-top service in Mexico about 3 months ago, which is being distributed by Telmex. It's called Claro Video. So we're using the leading brand of América Móvil in the consumer business. And yesterday, we're happy to say we just launched Neon, which is a broad market offering of over-the-top. And the business model is going through the network operators. We think there's a great value to teaming up with network operators, and we're providing a scale-based solution, content-based product, and teaming up with them in a way that has been very successful for us in the past as network providers for cable, and reinforcing their relationships with consumers. Okay, so that's what basically what we did.
Okay. Victor, I understand that Venevisión created YouTube channels about 5 or 6 years ago as one of the first broadcasters to use this platform. Can you explain your strategy and what you are doing now?
Yes, I mean, we have about 30 channels on YouTube. We started very, very early on. But I mean, YouTube has massive audience, and so we take advantage. YouTube also gives us, we are a broadcaster in Venezuela, but YouTube also gives us a massive international audience. And actually, we have more audience on YouTube from Mexico and the US than we have from Venezuela. So obviously, there's a strategy of expanding the audience and also monetizing that content elsewhere. But it's also, you know, a presence. We don't see it as linear or non-linear. We see it as a complement, and YouTube complements our strategy. We put our episodes that we air on TV, we put them the morning after, and a lot of people watch the episodes there, which makes them then watch, you know, the other episode maybe on the broadcast channel during the night. So you always get the you know, even if you miss the episode, you can catch up. DVRs are not that widely spread in Latin America. Okay. So it's a complementary strategy as well as increasing your market space.
How can you monetize that service?
Well, on YouTube, you monetize it through advertising.
Only? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Mexico is a huge market for you?
For us, it's, yes, definitely one of the largest Spanish-speaking market in Latin America.
Mm-hmm. But what do you think about the challenge for nonlinear platforms?
I think the challenge right now in terms of monetization, I mean, in the US you have, you know, two big OTT players. You know, one is Netflix, which is subscription-based. The other one is Hulu, I would say, which is obviously advertising-based. Hulu last year made about $700 million of revenue. I think Latin America is still far. I mean, online advertising, online video is the fastest growing display category in online advertising. In Latin America, it's not there yet. I mean, it's slowly growing. I think moves like, you know, Neon is going to help the ecosystem because you're going to have great quality content, and then advertisers want to go there. Obviously, YouTube is there. But it's you know, there's still a lot of room to grow. I mean, it's just starting. Mm-hmm. You know, it's you know, an OTT play in Latin America is not going to make $700 million in advertising.
Henry, I get the feeling all this is seen as the future of television. Yet I believe there are still plenty of questions left unanswered. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I don't agree that it's the future of television. I think there's many components that are coming into play here. But I think, you know, one of the points that you made during your opening comments, you said, you used the word opportunity, and that's great, very exciting. Then you used the word, or you said, how are we going to make money? And I think that's the key. I mean, as content developers, programmers, content owners, you know, we are principally investing our money over $1 billion, about $1.2 billion a year to be exact, around the world in developing great quality content. And then the question becomes, how do we window it? How do we utilize it? How do we monetize it on a variety of different platforms outside of the traditional, you know, sort of linear space that our company has been in? And to that end, I think is where we're beginning to really get into the aspect of opportunity that you mentioned and experimentation, because, you know, as Victor said, it's very much an emerging environment here that we're all working through and identifying where are the right opportunities for each one of our businesses, depending on what we do, and we're all in it, kind of in it together. Where these three organizations represented here are in a little bit of different spaces within the ecosystem. So for us, it's just a very exciting way to provide for two key things. I mean, we look at it sort of in the 360 component, and one of them is from our viewer standpoint. How can we create greater stickiness? How can we create greater viewer interaction and engagement? And so we try to do that by the utilization of social media. We were the first ones to launch a social media element to our lifestyle channel, Discovery Home and Health. This was last year around the summer, where we did something with one of our programs, Say Yes to the Dress, that we actually took and developed a local format with. And then the idea was for the consumers to be able to interact as what was going on the screen. And that was, again, the first time we did that, and a great test and experiment. We did it again with One Car Too Far, an international production that our company got behind and transmitted in just about every country where Discovery is available around the world, but shot in Chile. And we took One Car Too Far and decided, we were going to see if we could really have an impact on viewership by utilizing social media to promote it. And so we aired it sort of with little or no promotion, and then we turned around and aired it about a week later, 10 days later, with a lot of social media promotion, and we had viewership increases of 700%. So there's definitely an impact. It's how do we leverage it, and how do we use that to make it valuable to both our viewers and then our clients, from both the perspective of our affiliates feeling better about what we're offering, how we're offering it, in what ways, being cautious in regards to the disruptor opportunities. How do we balance that at the same time providing for a VOD platform or VOD offering that affiliates that recognize the value of what is being offered will integrate into their systems. And then last but not least, closing the 360 circle with the advertisers, because that then yields significant more value to our advertisers as well.
Interesting, because sometimes we think of it as non-linear versus linear, but does it always have to be like this?
I think we're all in agreement. This is explosive in terms of opportunity. So we don't see I don't see nonlinear killing or challenging the linear. I think it's a great opportunity for us to expand and reposition, because these things start to add value to each other as both, I guess, the three of us. I mean, we are the only ones with very small linear presence. So, but we definitely see or this explosive movement as bringing more business and more opportunities for anyone, from the production cycle all the way to the distribution cycle. So not only can produce better, more segmented content, but it can interact with your audience, which is something we've been dreaming about for such a long time, to hearing back from the consumer. And we can do that today. Cost of production went down, the cost of distribution went down, and now there's no limitation to who and how you can reach. Exactly. It's just us learning, and I guess that's the key word for us, how to reach and how to speak to these consumers. I mean, we're going to be super segmenting some of these markets into, I don't know, businesses that we never thought of before, because it was very difficult. I mean, there was limited spectrum in television, so we had to choose between what you're going to put on the air, and now you don't. Now you let the audience decide.
I was going to say, with that point of segmentation, it's enabled us, as an example of that, it's enabled us to branch out of what we would traditionally do within the context of our genres, and create 3 different environments with the web, where the consumer can come and interact with our content and with our information. One of those is specifically within news, called Discovery Noticias. Another one is capitalizing on the environmental platform that we have here in the US, Planet Green. And then the third one is actually getting into sports, where we offer sort of the science and the behind the scenes on sports. So it enables, like Mahet was saying, to really branch out in terms of genres or different areas of opportunities that still then link back to the core of what we do and who we are.
Exactly. You talked about a keyword. Which is the keyword? Connectivity, interactivity, experience?
I mean, multi-platform, I mean, all those words. I mean, the truth is, going back to the other point that you made, is it has to complement. Because, I mean, I'm a digital guy, so it'd be great for me to say, oh yeah, the old model doesn't work. But the truth is there'd be no non-linear if linear didn't work. Because linear, and Henry was saying you spend $1.2 billion. The revenue model today, it doesn't work for non-linear. If it was non-linear, you wouldn't produce the quality of content that everyone produces, right? Broadcasters, pay TV channels. So you need the linear model, right? And then you're complementing with the 360 strategy.
Exactly. In fact, Victor, Cisneros owns Red Mass, a strong digital advertising network in the region. So you have a good understanding of digital advertising market. Can online video sites be profitable in Latin America?
I think right now it'd be very hard, as I said before. Specifically, digital advertising is focused on video, like video pre-rolls. It's just starting out, right? So the market is very small, but I think now is the time to start. Like everything else, it takes time. So again, the initiatives like Antonio's Neon, it creates the audience, and then eventually, advertisers will take notice. It is great content. If the audience is there, advertisers will come. It's what happened in the U.S. I mean, Hulu started, with small revenues, and they increased like 40–50% every year, and that's what would happen. There are many different players, putting forth great initiatives with great content. I think we're one of them as well. That will definitely motivate the market. But right now, the market is small. Right now, like today.
Okay. So do you think we are creating a new audience for nonlinear platforms?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And what pending issues do you see in Latin America? This is a question for... What pending issues do you see in Latin America?
Well, broadband speeds have to improve. Average broadband speeds, I think, are about 1.5 megabytes. I mean, I don't know, Miami, my home, I got 10. I don't need 10 maybe to see some of the quality, but definitely a little bit more than 1.5. So broadband speeds need to improve. And then it's a matter of having the content, the good content available on this OTT platforms and seeing how those windows work out. Because basically, a lot of it is the content, not just the convenience of watching, what you want to watch at any time. But you gotta have quality content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was also mentioned the fact that, Latin America is not Latin America. Latin America is a lot of different countries, so exactly. There's different variables, of course, that come into that. But I want to go back to your point about what's the key word. And certainly from where I sit at this stage in time, that key word is integration. And integration is going to be the key to the success of exposing our products to a broader base of consumer, enabling for that interaction, and then having a value-building proposition that is of a increased value to the advertisers and to the affiliates alike. And I say that because the world as we know it today, our digital world, is so fragmented, and it adds fragmentation. It reminds me of the whole challenge about and the concern about is pay TV going to erode the broadcast audience, and we live through that in different parts of the world at different stages. And it's like, forget that. Is pay TV going to disrupt the broadcast audience? It's like, look at the digital world that we're dealing with, and look how fragmented that digital world is. And so, what is the best way to sort of bring that all together? So to me, that would be the key word, is integration of everything that we're doing, everything that we're looking at, and then figuring out how one thing can support the other and add value to the overall ecosystem.
Henry, you have a million of viewers in Latin America. What do you think viewers are looking for?
I mean, I think at the end of the day is, something they are interested in whatever category they're looking for, right? So giving it to them at a level of, quality and value is one of the keys to your question. I think another one, however, and also, in the digital world, and, we see it day in, day out, for those of us that have kids, it's also, sometimes the quick hit is they're looking for information about something. My son was just working on a project and he actually has to stand up and be somebody, and he chose Donald Trump. But it was so quick for him. I remember in the old days, you know, how hard it was to conduct the research, and it was so quick for him to just go in and get all the data and the facts that he wanted, be able to look at videos and see how Donald Trump, you know, acts or whatever. So it's a different world we're living in, and it just gives us this opportunity to access video and to access, you know, information in a completely different way and in a very targeted way. It's great.
Okay, perfect. So I don't know if would someone of our guests want to share any final thoughts about that, and then I'd like to I don't know if someone has some question to do for our guests.
Just want to just picking up a little bit on what Henry was saying, because let's say the challenge. Let's say the consumer is an eager, eager user of media, of entertainment. We just have to change his habit a little bit, how he does it. Because he's been doing it forever. So he's been watching TV, we've been going to movies, renting VHS tapes, DVDs, and stuff like that. So this is all converging into the digital world. So we're expanding our world, taking from the analog world in which the support was more relevant than the content. I mean, it was very expensive to deliver that content, and now it's very effective and everybody's connected. The challenge, building the speeds, building the networks, and helping the consumer come into this new world. But you have to be absolutely committed to the business you're in. So if you offer a bad product, he's not going to come. If you offer a good product, he's coming, but then you have to be absolutely committed. It's going to be years before this business, this transition happens. Having a strong presence in linear networks makes it an obligation for them to expand their brands and make sure they occupy the space. They produce content, we don't. So once you produce content, this also opens up the doors for you to produce more and to produce more creatively. In our case, we just basically we create a new brand, we create a new destination, which we believe we can bring what people want, and we're not limited to one type of content. So we just want to be a very good place for consumers to come in and effectively and in a very inexpensive way have access to content that he's been consuming in a different way or not consuming at all because he didn't have that available. So I think it's a great opportunity, and the markets are going to be huge. 5 years from now, it's going to be completely changed. And hopefully I think it's our ability to deliver, to learn with the market, to hear out the consumers and to deliver. Our business are going to be completely changed and bigger for all of us.
For all.
To Antonio's point, that the aspect of being able to create short form content that actually rests or comes out of what we're doing, or creating it uniquely for other applications, like for example with our preschool property, Discovery Kids, and things that we create for children to interact with us. Those are wonderful opportunities. But in terms of the last point, as you asked, I would just say we're sitting in a great place here in Latin America. The fact of the matter, only about 40% of households have pay TV. Broadband is just really picking up. I mean, internet connection versus broadband, because they got to get the broadband. So it's just all happening. I mean, we have the ability to double the size of this market over the course of the next 5, 6, 7 years, depending on how the economies of our great countries go. But there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of exciting developments that are going to happen in these next few years.
Okay.
Yeah, and the audience is going to move very, very fast. And I think we have an example, right? Because we unfortunately have piracy. So we know that we know that audiences have watch those sites. I think part of our challenge is to create a service that has great value and a lot of convenience. And that's one way of fighting piracy. Like, if you think about iTunes doesn't really sell music. They sell convenience, because you can get music other ways. But for $1, you say, no, I'm going to go to a legal system. It's more convenient. I have it in my desktop. And that's a little bit of what we need to build. It's a convenient system that has great content, and that it provides value, right? It has to come at a right price point.
Perfect. Okay. Does anyone from the audience wish to voice any question?
What role does mobile play into your strategy to reaching out to Latin America?
I'm sorry, because I couldn't hear.
What role?
Mobile. Please.
Oh, mobile.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah, I can talk about mobile a little bit because it's mobile now. It's wireless broadband, and I mean the power you have in your hands now is comparable to the power you had in your desktop computer that weighed 50 pounds 5 years ago. And what we see is that younger audiences, kids, teenagers, they use their smartphones as their personal screens. So maybe we, let's say, not as young, still want a bigger screen, we still want to have the comfort, but they use their mobile devices much more interactively. So they carry their own broadband connection with them, and they're hooked on to their broadband connections. And they're going to be leading this process because they're heavy users. And they would be expecting content to be available to them anywhere, anytime, any device. Okay, just did my commercials, but it's a fact. So this is not the future, this is real. If you see the dynamics of how the younger generations who were raised with cell phones and are dependent on them, I mean, they date via cell phone. So it's not that, I mean, I could be sitting next to Henry and be fighting him by texting instead of talking directly to them. So they developed a new language, and this is how it's happening.
Yeah, well, mobile, we have a mobile business, so we love that question.
Go, do your own.
No, I mean, mobile is going to be big.
It's part of your
big
company, in fact.
It's going to be big for your businesses. You know, smartphone penetration in the U.S. Hispanic market, for example, is about 65–70%. In Latin America, smartphone penetration is, I don't know, 15%. So imagine the growth that, you know, one day you're going to see that a lot of your traffic comes from a mobile phone, and not just a phone. I mean, think that mobile is also tablets.
Yes.
And that's a much bigger screen, and I think my guess is a lot of your viewership will come from tablets.
Absolutely. Yeah, we see them as, yes, just different screens, yeah, but
Yeah.
same.
In our case, it's developing apps, and then to be utilized on whether it's the tablets or whether it's phones, mobile. We don't own a mobile entity, but developing apps that, again, allow for this interaction with the content.
Okay. Any other question? Okay. Well, I'd like to thank the three of you very much for your time. And I wish you a very productive market. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.